Mind Travels Exploration of Lives Remembered, Chapter 2, my 2 QHHT sessions. September 2013, first session. I drive to the camping spot I went to the previous year, where it's not publicly known that extraterrestrial beings can be contacted. There, I find the best place to park my SUV and set up my zero-gravity lounge chair. It's a beautiful place deep in the woods of northern Arizona. I have been reading several books about the highly intelligent beings from Arcturus, known as the Arcturians. Arcturus is the brightest star in the constellation of Bootes. I've read that Arcturians contact humans through the higher dimensions, through channeling, and most notably during a person's sleep time. Through a telepathic communication, the Arcturians told me they would contact me during my sleep while deep in the woods. Although I was open to any form of experience, I intuitively felt I would most likely have to have a lucid dream and remember it. This was not to be the case. They surpassed my expectations. All alone, I set up camp and eat a late lunch reading David Wilcox's book, The Synchronicity Key, feeling the bliss of being deep in nature among the tall pine trees. I feel happy and at peace. The sound of the wind blowing through the leaves feels sublime. I thank God for everything. I communicate my love and gratitude for the trees. Sensing someone watching me, I get up and walk around the area, finding 4 heart-shaped rocks on the ground, 3 partially buried, and the 4th one on top of the ground. Telepathically, they tell me to take one on top, as it is their gift for me. They must have remembered that I left 2 moonstones and a rose quartz stone on the large rock, shaped like an extraterrestrial being's head, as my parting gift of my brief visit here last year. It starts to rain just after I settle down for the evening. I practice my yoga meditation with the soothing pinging sound of the gentle rain on the ceiling of my tent. Afterwards, I lie down in my sleeping bag. It feels so good to be on the ground, in the woods, this close to Mother Earth. I feel like a baby at my mother's bosom, cradled in her arms, very loved, very safe. I drift off to sleep. During the night, I wake up and look at the stars twinkling in the night sky like diamonds on black velvet. Marveling at the infinite number of sparkles, I attempt to grasp the multitude of life on distant planets. It's impossible with my human brain. I return to sleep, then wake up to the heart tones on my alarm clock in order to take my thyroid supplement, which I faithfully did at the same time each day. I have no recollection of a ship or star beings, no lucid dreams, nada. I dress, eat breakfast, and break camp, then drive the 100+ miles back home to Wickenburg, Arizona. Not what it seemed. Later, sharing my disappointment with the psychically gifted shaman Lance Hurd on the phone, I told him I didn't have an experience with the Arcturians, or any other extraterrestrial for that matter. However, I noticed a red raised area on my left outer thigh, the size of a pistachio nut. It didn't itch or feel uncomfortable when I touched it. I felt it meant something, but what? I took a couple of photos of the skin anomaly for my personal documentation. Lance commented that it could be another implant. I agreed with inner knowing. Implants are given to humans to assist the health of the human body. We are exposed to all sorts of chemicals and substances in our environment, food, and water that can adversely affect the functioning of our cellular processes. Who gives us these implants? The higher self, that part of us that is merged with God, Creator, Source, and at that same time comprise a group of beings who are with us 24/7. They maintain the human form and energy systems necessary for us to occupy these vessels. I was guided to call my friend and award-winning drummer, Deborah Thunderbeat. I told her about my experience and how I had wanted to meet the Arcturians. In her book, Look Up, Deborah shared her story of Dolores Cannon regressing her in a quantum healing hypnosis technique session. It was revealed to Deborah that she is a Syrian ambassador and has been on spaceships her entire life. She recommended I find a QHHT practitioner near me and have a session to find out if anything happened during my sleep time in the woods. It could be that I experienced missing time and I just didn't know it. As soon as I hung up the phone, I found a practitioner in Gilbert, Arizona, on the original Dolores Cannon website. The practitioner was located about 11 miles from the house I was renting in Tempe, Arizona, which served as the office center for my healing practice. Perfect synchronicity. I wrote the practitioner's name and phone number on a piece of paper. Then I walked into the living room and sat on the floor for my yoga meditation. During my meditation, my third eye opened and I saw the whole movie of the previous night in the woods. I saw myself egressing from my tent as a large vertical pyramid-shaped spaceship landing in the clearing near my campsite. 2 large Arcturians came out of the ship to greet me. They were luminescent human-shaped forms. I walked up the ramp of the ship on my own accord. I saw myself on a table with Arcturians around me, looking over me as procedures were being done. There was no pain or discomfort, even when a long metal probe was inserted into my left upper outer thigh, the exact spot where the red area on my skin is located. I asked the Arcturians what was being done to me with the probe. They said they are upgrading my light codes and preparing me for trance channeling. I felt immense love. I didn't feel threatened or unwelcomed. It was as if this was a regular thing I did. I saw myself leaving the ship and returning to my tent. At the end of my yoga, a vibrant blue colored light entered my third eye vision. Slowly, I returned to beta level consciousness, the awake state. I called Lance and shared the information I received in meditation. He agreed I did indeed go on the ship. He said more is going to come to the surface for me. Now I was intrigued. That afternoon, I realized the scar on my left anterior thigh that I've had since age 4 was from the implant that was removed from me. Though it appeared as a cyst to the doctor, it was an implant. I remember waking and sitting up, looking at the implant in my leg during the surgery. The female nurse said to me to lay back down. They didn't want me looking at this procedure. A couple days later, I returned to the house in Tempe where I was giving angel readings and private channel healing sessions for clients, and called the QHHT practitioner, Virginia. I didn't do any research about Dolores Cannon and her work. The practitioner told me that sessions were private and lasted about 4 to 6 hours, followed by a debriefing of the session and an audio recording of the session to take home. We scheduled my session and she sent me the preparation information via email. Virginia arrived at the house in Tempe. We sat in the living room as I told her my life story. Afterwards, I lay down on my Reiki table in the healing room and Virginia began the induction. I felt comfortable and at ease. At the time of my session, Virginia was a level 1 practitioner. It was very easy for me to trust Virginia and the technique because I've done the inner work to learn to trust myself. When we trust ourselves, we trust others using discernment. Past life. I walked with Jesus. I am shown a past life where I see myself at the foot of the cross where Jesus had just died. My name is Jeremiah, and I was taught by Jesus. The purpose of this past life is to love and support Jesus by talking with people, sharing how to love, how to forgive, and how to live a wholesome life. People come to me. As we progress through this life, I see scenes where I am a much older man. People looked up to me because I'm compassionate and have an understanding that people who do bad things don't understand why they are doing it. There is a reason for this bad behavior, and it's to help the other person learn more about loving himself or herself. The ones I talk to are thirsting for this information because Jesus is not among them anymore. This past life is a good life with family. I die peacefully with my loved ones around me. Virginia calls forth my subconscious, which say that the purpose of showing me this lifetime of Jeremiah is to remind me of Jesus' teachings and to help others in this current lifetime. The teachings of Jesus are important in my current mission. The following is part of the session transcript. Virginia, how should she spend most of her time? Higher self. The channeling, awakening of people, teaching of love, forgiveness, teaching others to understand that the world is changing now. She feels a deep passion in helping people understand in the most tender, loving, and positive way. This is her dilemma right now. She continues to feel that people are not to accept her, the information that she knows. This is her dilemma. Virginia, they are thirsting for this knowledge? Higher self. Yes, indeed. They just don't realize it. Virginia, so she should clear this dilemma? Higher self. Yes, my dear. Virginia, Barbara has some questions about her health. Right now, she has problems with hypothyroidism. Why has this situation manifested? Higher self. The throat chakra. She has been suppressed in many lifetimes about speaking her truth, finding her voice, and this is all connected. Virginia. And yet in this lifetime, her life purpose is to teach. She will need her voice. Higher self. Yes. Virginia. What types of extraterrestrial experiences has she had? Higher self. She's been on spaceships. She teaches on ships. And she flies ships. Virginia. Are there any lessons, takeaways, messages she needs to have from these extraterrestrial interactions? Higher self. When they occur, they are beneficial for her. Virginia. And when the information is to be conscious, it will be made conscious? Higher self. Yes. Anytime. We can explore anything here she would like to know. Virginia shared with me after the session that she could see my body turn into waveforms when I received the healing for my thyroid. After this session, I no longer felt the need to be taking a supplement and for my body with the homeopathic remedy, thyroidinium. I received a complete thyroid healing. Virginia, can we make it very clear to Barbara what her purpose is in this life? Higher self. Barbara has come here to help with the many and Mother Earth. She's helping Mother Earth and Mother Earth's ascension. Her purpose is to help in the transition. That is why she's having a very long life here. She has agreed to stay to help. Virginia, And what is her main life lesson in this incarnation? Higher self, to become realized. Virginia, is she coming into her enlightenment? Higher self, yes, she is stepping into it. Parting message for Barbara. Dear Barbara, it is true. All your karma is gone. It is done. You will continue to do this work, my dear, to help people, to help them understand. And you will be working with the animals too. You will find new directions in that. We are not going to spell it all out for you. We honor you and we respect you. Barbara, you are loved very much, and you do have a great amount of love for yourself. A couple of days after this session, Virginia called me and said, I've never met a subconscious like yours. I'd like to meet them again. Would you be willing to have another QHHT session? Since the first session was a very pleasant experience for me, of course I said yes. My second QHHT session, choosing to incarnate. During the meditation and energy healing sessions, people can experience and remember the time before their birth. Another way is through a quantum healing hypnosis technique session with a trained facilitator. This second session reveals the healing gift I brought with me into my current life. We had just explored one of my parallel lives as a researcher and data collector of other planets, a life shared in detail in Chapter 14. At this point of the session, I find myself in a new scene looking at a ball of light, at an egg-shaped object that's milky white and translucent. Virginia, are you small or large compared to this light? Barbara, I'm part of it. I'm on the outside looking in, like it's right before me. Virginia, are you getting ready to step into this egg-shaped light? Barbara, yeah, it's like I'm going to go inside, like I'm going to come into it, being born. Oh, this is how they do it. Virginia, do you have a sense of yourself? Can you look down and see your feet? Barbara, I'm consciousness, getting ready to go into this form and become human. Virginia, did you make the decision to do this, or did someone tell you to do this? Barbara, it's like a collective decision. I'm all prepared. I'm ready to go. Everything is all set. Virginia, is there anything you are bringing with you? Barbara, all my gifts, all my skills. Virginia, and what are those gifts and skills? At this point, I begin speaking the healing mathematical star language that I channel as my higher self speaks through my monthly star energy healing teleconferences I facilitate for groups of people. Virginia, so you're bringing language with you? Yes. Are you being prepared to be Barbara? Barbara, yes, very much so. Virginia asks the higher self to come forward. Virginia, she wants to know more about you. Who are you? And how can she bring more of you into her daily consciousness? Higher self, we are a collection of love, frequency, of consciousness, of beings, entities, planets, stars, all the power that emanates from the great central sun, all knowing, all loving, all correcting, all being. To incorporate us into Barbara's being is for Barbara to just be herself. We are here. We are not separate from Barbara. She is not separate from us. That is what she needs to know. As you know, in our incarnation as humans, we forget. Yes, and more of this is being peeled away. Virginia, is there a name or visual image you could attach to yourself so Barbara can make requests and have conversation with you on a daily basis? Higher self, the white one. Virginia, can you help to reveal the the specifics of her ET experiences? Higher self. Yes, all she needs to do is to go into meditation, request it, and we will provide visions, sensations, information. All she needs, all she desires. Virginia. She feels she was the commander of a starship. What was her role as a star commander? Higher self. To explore. Her ship is what you would see as pyramid shape. However, it's not vertical, it's horizontal. Very much this is an exploration ship with lots of other star beings on board performing tasks and gathering information, teaching, learning. Many schools are on this ship. She determines where to go next, receives information from the command, all based in love. This is all based in love. Very, very much so. Virginia, is there anything else she needs to know about being a star commander that would help her in this incarnation? Higher self. She can draw strength upon this, that she knows exactly what she is doing. Virginia, I imagine there's a lot of leadership in that role. Higher self. Yes, this is why people on earth look to her for guidance as she sits there befuddled. Why are they staring at me? Why are they looking at me? Because she has the leadership, and they know it, because they are on the ship too. This will be helpful for her to put closure to that questioning. Virginia, so these people are recognizing Barbara subconsciously as their leader, higher self. Yes. When a QHHT client listens to the audio recording of the session, downloads of insight come through into the conscious mind. For example, when I realized this is how they do it, I came to understand that there is a group of beings guiding the process of consciousness embodying into a human. I further understand we have the ability to place our consciousness into an energy form, here on earth as humans as the egg-shaped light. And this is done with thought. It's a collective decision, means I have met with my guides, council of elders, beings of light, angels, etc., to draw up the game plan, so to speak, preparing me for my missions on earth. This part of the session answered my questions about trans-channeling my higher self and the star language that is not indigenous on planet Earth. Also, the information affirmed for me that the language indeed is a gift. The opening of the mathematical star language is presented in my book, Enclosure, a Spiritual Autobiography. An audio sample of the language with healing can be heard on the streamingforthesoul.tv Superpower Show interview with host Carl Fink on YouTube. Over the years, through my conversations with Dr. Peebles, a grand spirit of love and compassion who was trans-channeled by the great channel Summer Bacon, I learned of my past life regression work that is automatically done by the clients and my higher self unconsciously on my part. I share the stories of healings and miracles in my autobiography. Knowing this information, Virginia decided to contact me about becoming a QHHT practitioner a year later.